very unscientific Google research survey how people were using the word digitization versus digitalization, and it looked like it was more common to use the word digitization when you kind of you have an analog process and you put it in a computer, digitization, whereas when people were talking about digitalization, it came closer to digital transformation and the way you're trying to reinvent the actual experience or process, so to speak. So that was our conclusion in the end, how to use this. And now I come to my the way I manage those words in presentations. I have talked about analog computerization as a way to describe digitization, and then talking about reinventing with data and AI, digital software first in mind.
Yeah.
And because this is interesting, these semantics, we are stumbling on them.
Yes.
And I guess it gets back to what you brought up just recently. You know, you had the government and they came out with a new budget, right?
Yeah.
And they proposed some increase in physical books, or what was it?
Yes, I think 350 million to physical books.
So extra money for the schools to buy extra physical books?
Yes.
Earmarked for physical books.
Yes, yeah. But if you buy a physical book, you can have the book on a computer as well, so on the web.
Digitization. Then.
Yeah.
So this would then be digitization.
Yeah. So it's like a PDF on a can.
PDF on a can is the computerized way to do something analog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could do instead a proper digitalization.
Yes.
And you could have extra funding for schools then to do something else. What do you think they should do otherwise? What should they invest more in schools to properly digitalize?
And I think there's a whole spectrum of things in this. On the other, in one direction and the other direction. In one direction, we have I think the government and the politicals just protecting themselves and their position that they have in our municipality today, and we have students that are getting out in the work life in 10 years. And what would work life look like in 10 years? It would not be in physical books anyway. Yeah. That's for sure. So I think we need to embrace the technology that we have today, like AI, like AR. And if we do that, we're going to get a higher amount of educated people in Sweden for the future skills and not for the past skills.
Perhaps they should have a ChatGPT subscription instead and pay for that.
Yeah, I think so. I know schools that have ChatGPT subscription now, so for the teachers. So yeah, why not for the students?
Yeah, true. I'm sure we will get much more into that shortly, but I'd like to first welcome you here, Anders Enström. I think I noticed you first on some LinkedIn posts that you wrote, and I started to see a bit more of them, and I recognized that you had a very apt and a novel way of thinking about AI in education.
Oh, thank you.
And that's why we invited you here. So we're very proud to have you here and speak about this very, I think, for one, interesting for me personally. I was a teacher when I started a long while back. And also because of so many things happening in AI these days that really change the way that we can do education in different ways. So speaking more about that is something I look forward to a lot, and I think a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, and I want to add, how does education need to change to be relevant in the age of AI? When the innovation speed has gone up, and we need to maybe reinvent ourselves over and over in our lifetimes in terms of what we need to know and what tools we're going to use or how we're going to do work.
Yeah.
So that's also a mind-boggling discussion on AI and education.
Yeah. And, I have a family member as well that is using ChatGPT for her school work, and she's doing that very efficiently, I must say. So all the homework that she's doing, of course, she's trying to use AI for it, and it works surprisingly well. And the question is if she actually learns anything from it, or if it's just a way to get the homework done more quickly. I actually do think that she learns quite a lot by doing so, even though I'm sure that the school is not really liking this approach. So I think this would be. What's your take on that? Should schools, in a very quick way, we should dive more into this shortly. But is it a good thing for students to use ChatGPT for their home assignments? You think?
Yes, I think, because if the teacher or the school is handing out an assignment that could be done with ChatGPT, it's not the right assignment or homework. So
awesome. I will add that as a topic as well to speak more about that, because I think it's a very important one, and I think it's weird that some schools actually forbid the use of AI in education. That seems like a very
backwards.
Backward thinking kind of way.
Crazy
but
stuff.
Before that, could you perhaps describe yourself? Who is really Anders Enström?
Oh my God, who am I? I'm a teacher. I've been working as a teacher for 23 years. Yeah. And I took a decision 18 years ago. Then I just banned homework and test from my class. Instead of the time that I'm saving on that, I make sure that we have kick-ass lessons instead with AI for now anyway. Not 18 years ago, but now we have AI and AR, and be creative in the classroom. And I teach in math and science are everywhere. Not only in the textbook. It's so much more. So that was...
and that's a topic that's going to stick, right? I mean, it's not like math and science is going away, even if you have AI, right?
Yes. It still will be there. Yeah. And that term will look the same as it does today. But we can do so much more with new technology to enhance learning in every school, I think. Not only in my classroom, but in every school.
And you are something, if I recall correctly, like called a first teacher or something?
Yeah,
What's that?
First teacher is in Swedish. It should be förste lärare. And there's a joke going around in schools, and I can be the last teacher instead of the first teacher. So, but I think first teacher is kind of a title that makes the school. You are responsible for the school to move forward if you have digitalization as your first teacher assignment. So you're gonna be sort of what is happening around in the world today, and how could this? How could we embrace it in school, and how could I teach my colleagues what's happening, and how could we?
Can it be understood like almost like I would use the word super user, or someone that is supposed to, for the school's sake, take a stance to be a little bit ahead of the game, to try to navigate for the school where we should take this. Yeah. So you're the first teacher in digitalization, so to speak, for your school.
Yes. And then we have workshop with the rest of the teachers. So and I show them this. We can do like this, and we can do like that.
So you are the one who need to go out and scope and orientate and not scope, also scout. Scout.
Yes.
And then show what can be done, and then with the teacher community, figure out what you're actually going to do.
And how could our students benefit of this particular subject or app or website or whatever?
Clear.
And the school is called Skapa-skolan or something?
Yes, and in English that should be the creative school.
Creative school?
Yeah, creative school. So Skapa, you're going to create something. So it's based in Huddinge, south of Stockholm, 20 kilometers south of Stockholm. So, and we have iPad 1-to-1. So every student from grade förskoleklass, and that's grade 0 in English, to grade 9, have their own iPad. Yeah. And we create a lot, both by hands, but also on the iPad.
I mean, awesome. And if I also recall, I think it's called, you mentioned iPad, so I guess there is some Apple connection here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's called Apple Distinguished School or something?
Yes, so it's like a program for schools that are using the Apple technology around the world. So there are 553, I think, 54 maybe, around the world that is Apple Distinguished School.
How many in Sweden, do you think?
7 or 8.
Cool.
I should say 7.
Yeah, I live in Värmdö.
Yep.
And my kids are now 17, 15, 13. And they grew up with, I would say, Chromecast. Like they've had their little notebook. but they are a Chromecast school in that sense.
Yeah.
Then here we have now the distinction that there are 550 in the world that gone the Apple route, so to speak.
But I think there are a lot more schools that are having Chromebooks or PCs or iPads in the school. But you can apply for this program to be an Apple distinguished school. So it's
what does
like
that mean? That's really good.
Yeah, it's like a process. You go through different kind of stages to sort of put a spotlight on different subjects or different angles from the school. What are we really doing in school? And how are we doing that in school? So we tell the story.
So actually to become an Apple distinguished school is a badge to some degree that you have done some certification. You have worked on this in a quite methodological
way.
Yes.
I need another beer.
Correct. Or two maybe, right? Yes. So I think, that's correct. So we have it for 3 years, 2021 to 2024. So we're going to do a new application from January.
And what work goes into that application? What is it all about?
It's all about showing what we are doing good and how we enhance learning with the students together with iPads in our case then. How could it be more effective and reduce teacher workload maybe?
I get goosebumps.
Yeah, cool.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I do not, but
But
that's because I'm not an Apple fan. By the way. I'm really glad though that Apple do have these kind of programs because I think it's really good
I wasn't getting goosebumps. He thought I was getting goosebumps.
Because of Apple. Yeah,
no, but the point that you are trying to articulate what you're doing in an application has so much value, I believe.
Yeah.
Because it really puts a focus and it puts structure and it puts an elevated thinking on this. Love it.
So is this good for our students? Is the answer no? We have to quit it.
Yeah.
So that's basically the whole program and the whole idea of it.
Awesome. And I love that Apple do that, even though I don't love their product. That's another question. Let's move on. We spoke a bit before about cheating with AI.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, something that a lot of people do and some teachers frown upon and some schools are starting to ban. So if we just go back to that, I guess I've already heard what you think about this. I mean, for one, it's a bad idea to ban it, I guess. But if you think not long term, but really short term, and they have a program, they have their curriculum, they have the way to do home assignments, what should they do to make it work with the assignments they have today and still work with AI in short term?
Yeah. But I think if we're talking about generative AI that are producing text, so I think we need to learn our students how to prompt. I think that's one big thing, because if you prompt it like, I need an answer on this question, it's just going to give you the answer. But if you prompt it like, I want to learn more about this, could you ask me questions instead of giving me the right answers? So it could be a study buddy. And that study buddy is not he or she or will not have to pee, will not have to drink coffee, will be available 24/7, and is going to not be in a grumpy mood.
But that's a good thing if you want students to perform better with AI.
Yeah.
But still, if you think from a teacher point of view, should they simply, remove all assignments that has to do with some kind of creative writing kind of assignments, or what should they do?
No, I don't think they have to, but I think they have to have another approach to it. So they can let ChatGPT write the text at home, take the text to school, compare it to 4 or 5 other students. Yeah. How did your text end up? How did my text end up? And they have to double check on the sources, of course. Yeah. And if they have let ChatGPT written the text in 1,000 words, maybe. So shorten the text to 350, and then you have it.
But I think this is...
I didn't understand. Do you mean that the student should...
Yeah, the student shorten the text to 350 words.
Okay. And that should be done on site, basically, or they should, or what?
No, on site, because if you work together on it, it's going to be a lot more collaborative, and it's together that we are learning and not on your own.
So you basically have an additional. You get the report back to the teacher. Yeah. The teacher then sits down with the student and said, "Please summarize this in 300 words."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is truly also in another way putting a spotlight on digitization versus digitalization, because when you go home and you have an analog process as a teacher with the student, and which meant they should go home and do the assignment at home. And now, of course, you can digitize this with ChatGPT, and it doesn't gonna add any value. But if you rethink the process, so digitalization here is so critical that to innovate with tech is not about just using the tech; it's to innovate the core process with tech. And this is completely different.
Yes, it is. And I have a question when I'm holding lectures for teachers and municipalities, is that AI is really, really challenging schools and learning today. So does every student need to write a text about the French Revolution? No. Because you have an AI that can do that for you. And that's the future of these students. It's going to be AI and AR. It's not going to be anything else.
So the reality is their normal life will be generative AI, and you better prepare them for that.
Yes.
So how do you prepare yourself to be a study buddy with the generative AI? That is part of the mission here.
Yes, it is.
And of course, then what happens is that a very average or below average student will of course perform on a much higher level.
Yeah.
So the education then needs to be on this level.
Yeah.
We
need to step up.
The abstraction level, we extrapolated the abstraction layer that we will live on.
Yeah. So I think the government needs to step up, and the teachers maybe also need to step up. It's not only one responsibility, but I think we need to be more kind of, what's happening in the world right now. What is generative AI? Because I'm holding lectures and I'm always starts to ask the audience how many of you have tried ChatGPT?
Yeah.
And of 100, it's 2 or 3 that's raising their hands.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a long way to walk.
For the teachers, you mean?
For the students as well.
Okay.
No, but I bet you that you have the inverse relationship now, that you have the teachers has 2 or 3 tried it. If then I have 15-year-olds.
Everyone has tried it.
Everyone has tried it.
Yeah, because what's on the top of their friend list in Snapchat?
This is trending on TikTok. Come on, they have tried it.
It's my AI, right?
Okay, so let me just try to close the topic a bit. We have students that potentially are cheating today with generative AI, but we need to adapt to that as a school and as a teacher. And if I understand it correctly, for one, you can change the process in simply asking the students to summarize at site in some way.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, in the beginning, you also said that we can also learn students to use AI better.
Yeah.
By prompting it not only to give the answer, but actually to provide some learning experience or some more understanding of.
Because prompting is kind of the most important things in at least generative AI. Because if you prompt it like, I want you to be my study buddy, and I want you to ask me questions. If you prompt that in ChatGPT, and then you're gonna get questions instead of answers.
And then you can take it so far. You can redo the assignment.
Yeah.
The reframing of it. So first the framing was write this text, and then produce the text, and then we will grade the text. Now the point is produce a text of much higher quality.
Yeah.
I want you to use ChatGPT. I want to see the prompts you made as a part of the assignment, and I want you to comment and reflect on why you used this. You can really rebuild the assignment to a higher abstraction.
Yes, and it's one level above that. Is that schools? If you look back on schools today, or maybe 100 years back, it's always been writing text. It's the most common thing. If schools had the assignment that every student should learn to ride a bicycle, we should have started with write a text of a bicycle's history. It should, because, and I think with AI, now we are talking about generative AI with ChatGPT and so on, but there are 1,000 services out there that are creating movies and podcasts and making funny voices or whatever, even rap songs or rock songs and so on. So we have a long way to walk in schools, because we need to think of the assignment. So now the students are handing in an assignment and they're getting grades on it. But I think we need to look at the process when they're making this assignment. And maybe text is not the best thing in that.
That leads me to the next question then. And it is one question, that we had before. What do you do today? We have the current curriculum, the current type of home assignment. But looking forward a few years, can we think of better ways to do home assignments? Or what will happen perhaps when every student have their own personal AI as a study buddy? What will a home assignment look like? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's not going to be any more home assignments,
Really?
I think. Yeah,
and you took it away.
Maybe. I hope I was a part of it anyway. But I think if every school and every teacher are always referring to the curriculum, but homework is not mentioned one single time in the curriculum. So that's a big thing.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's tradition, right? You always have homework in school, so we're going to have it today as well. So I think that's one part, and I think students' well-being is going to be another big part of this.
Which one?
Student well-being.
Well-being.
Yeah, because when we are leaving work, hopefully we doesn't have anything to do when we get home. Maybe put out the trash can or say, like the usual homework for an adult. But why should the students work 2 hours more at home when they have been in school for 6 hours already? So I think that's not fair. I think they should get go on the soccer practice, hang with your friends, play some TV, PlayStation or whatever. So be a human. Come to school, work when you're leaving school.
But
it's your spare time.
Okay, maybe I'm stealing it a little bit, but to me it's a little bit like, I've been studying this topic quite a bit under the heading of innovation pressure. And basically what happens is that the old ways of thinking about efficiency and how we run companies, you can do it in the old way until you get to a certain point of innovation pressure that you must, from a competition point of view, you need to innovate like hell to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And here now, in reality, we have a tremendous innovation pressure exerted in a short amount of time on teachers. Yeah. Because the technology has become pervasive very fast. And so we need to equally think not only about, when we say how to use technology, actually, it's not a technology question, it's a how do we innovate education faster question.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah, totally agree.
So it's really interesting how in some sense, there are industries out there that don't feel it yet, and the teachers, they feel it now.
They feel it now. Yes, I totally agree with you, because you can look at any business. I think how much they have been forced to innovate what they are doing.
Exactly at this point.
Yeah, and schools haven't been there because students are always coming to school. They have to go into school for 9 years at least, but I think 9 plus 3, so maybe 12 years at least, or maybe it's now 9 plus 3 plus 4, maybe if you go to high school and or college. So I think for now we are in some kind of, we have to move forward. We don't have any choice.
It's not you that makes the call anymore.
No.
The society has become AI driven to an extent in exactly the field that impacts you.
Yes.
So the innovation pressure is exerted on you whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Live with it.
Yes, live with it. And I think we need to have the eyes on the students, because they are getting out in a world that's, when they are getting a job, today there's no title for that job.
Yes, good point. Let me actually...
That's a deep point, by the way.
I add that to the list, because I think we should go back to the job market in the future, etc.
And how to prepare for a job market with job titles we can't even foresee. That is a profound topic.
Yeah,
yes.
I add it to the list here as well.
Do you need to write a text about the French Revolution? No.
Will it help you in this context?
No, it won't.
Yeah. Okay, if we just, before we move into the job market, etc., because I think that's a big topic, as we said, but we can, we spoke about the home assignment and how students can benefit from using AI to simply be more efficient in their education. But what about teachers? Do you think that they can be more efficient as well in some way, or what is the best way for teachers to benefit from having generative AI or other types of AI?
Saving time.
Yeah. Okay.
Teacher buddy.
Yeah, it's like a teacher buddy, not a study buddy, but a teacher buddy. Yes, because I do a lot of planning with the help from different kind of AI services, but mostly ChatGPT.
Why don't you give us a picture of that?
Yeah. If I should plan, I did yesterday, so I'm going to take that one. Is that okay? Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I was telling ChatGPT that I'm a teacher and I teach students in grade 8, and I want a creative lesson for learning about atoms and the atom parts.
Wow.
And boom,
Of course. Boom.
and you have it. And then I ask, can you do this in 3 lessons? Boom. It takes 20 seconds. And before I have to sit down for 3 hours maybe. So it's a huge time saver.
And what do you do with that? So you get some kind of output, some kind of outline of this is the way you should give some lecture then, or
ideas.
So, it's not completely done when ChatGPT has, but I can continue chat with ChatGPT. It's like a chatbot, you know. You prompt it, and exactly. So after maybe 20 minutes, I have what I need, and then I can just copy paste on a text document.
Because isn't that the truth? In my line of work as a consultant, and I really think it's similarities with teaching and how will I facilitate, how will I do the storytelling so it excites, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you get the wasted time, or the time it takes for me in my line of work to really figure out the contours.
Yeah.
That's the majority part.
Yes.
When that is down, I can crunch it quite fast.
Yes.
Is that the same?
Yes, it's exactly the same. So you get a frame. So it's maybe 75-80% ready for just going into classroom and having the class. But that's great with ChatGPT in this case. But you could also tell ChatGPT that, okay, I have 5 students that are really interested in hockey. I have 5 students that are really interested in horses. I have 5 students that play handball, and I have 5, blah, 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 blah. And boom, you get the same assignment, but they are personalized now.
Wow. That is a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
That's smart.
But what do you mean, if you take the atom example as you gave, you have some kind of physics course or something.
Yes.
And you have a lecture about atoms. And I think, this is, I compare it to like precision medicine in some way. You can have more personalized treatments from a medical point of view with AI. Can you go that route as well with teaching? Even if you have, you still have a class with 10, 20 students in some way, how can you really personalize it? Or can you do it today already in some way?
Yes. With the help from ChatGPT, I can do that.
Explain how.
Because if you prompt it, and you need to know your students, and that's a big part. You need to create some kind of relationship between you and the students. But when you have that, you know what they are interested in. You know if they have dogs or cats at home. Do they play handball, or do they play soccer, or what are their interests? And then you can just tell ChatGPT that I want a lecture for in the terms of an atom for those guys or girls that are playing hockey.
So so the point is then, because of their interest and passion, they have a certain mastery and know-how and knowledge around this the context of handball.
Yeah.
So then you can use metaphors.
Yes.
And you can use, in a way, you can make a stupid math assignments in the relationship of the handball game, which all it is about them relating to the topic more easily.
And if you go back to your school, when we went to school, there were like math science, like there are 2 oranges and 3 bananas, and how many grapes are there on the roof? It's completely out of the blue. But now you can have like a personalized math or science assignment that they are going to feel like, oh, this is really motivated. I can really do this.
They actually care about the result.
Yeah.
Because it's a result that this is an interesting angle on football.
And then I told ChatGPT, please let them try an AI, generative AI in this assignment. So blend that into the assignment.
Okay, so you use ChatGPT yourself to create some kind of question, problem, context, and then you tell the students to also use ChatGPT to learn more about that in some way. I see.
So they can ask questions or make. We cannot use ChatGPT. It's 18 years, but they are other services like Bloom.
But in a nutshell, the creativity is the limit as long as you keep an eye on the ball of what goals you really are trying to pursue.
Yeah, and it's time saving as a teacher as well. You know, it's like it's two ways. You know, I think it's more funny. My student think it's more funny, and I'm saving time. Hey. What could go wrong?
It's a win-win,
Yeah.
Are there any downsides? Are there any? Okay, no. Okay, steel man yourself now, or a straw man. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
What is the potential problem with this? Is there any potential problems?
No, I don't think so. I think you need to use common sense. You know, the assignment that ChatGPT prompts out to you need to reflect on the curriculums, of course. So I don't think you can do. I think you need to read what the text is coming out. Okay, I don't think you can just that's great and just print it out and hand it out to the students.
You need to have your baseline knowledge. You need to know what you're going. You need to be really. The reins need to be tight, so to speak.
So
that's a given here.
Yeah, in 2 lessons, I want them to know this. And that you could tell ChatGPT that.
You can even copy paste from the.
Of course,
you've done that.
Yeah, of course.
But okay, I don't understand all aspects of this. So of course, one thing is you personalize by contextualizing it in the interest that they have. If it's handball or something else, I guess another way to personalize is simply to see if they know this much about atoms. You can more quickly let them just dig more into their current, level of understanding, and then you have them being more efficient in their learning as well. But how do you evaluate it then? If all of them have personalized both context and level of details for atoms, how do you grade that?
That's not a grade assignment.
Okay,
that's not a grade assignment. It's like an intro to the atoms, but then I'm going to build the atom in AR, so they can tell me or tell the world about it. What's this part of the atom and how does this look and is it negative or positive? So I think we in schools are very into grading, and I think that's an obstacle in this case or in every case, because I think we need to look more at the process. Where did we begin, and what did the students know then, and what do the students know now, and could we look at this process instead of. In schools, when we went to school, it was like, we start here, we have 4 weeks, and then we have a test. And you make sure you get good grades on that test. Yeah. That's kind of an old way of looking at learning, I think. Because I think it's the process. You as a consultant, you're always talking about the process, right? We need to do this because it's good for the process and it's good for the company or the goods for the people that are working in the business. So outside of school, we're always looking at the process, but in school, we are looking at the final result and the test. And that's why I took away tests, because we need
you
to.
Have done that.
Yeah. We don't have any tests at all. We do the national exams or the standardized test in English in grade 9.
But how do you now then? In the end, you need to put the grade on them. What is the alternative process?
Yeah, we have a curriculum that also I need to follow.
Yeah, because the curriculum is there, and you need to assess in some way.
Yeah.
Where are they? Yeah. And are they at an A or whatever level?
Yeah.
So the test the test was supposed to fill that function. Maybe it's not really filling that function.
No.
What else? What is the alternative that you are proposing that helps you?
Talking to the students and thinking about learning in a different kind of way. When do we learn at the best? When we are feeling safe, right? When we are working together with other people. So it's. I look at it as it's a lot more of learning and not so much grading. And I think the students they are well aware of where they think they are on the grade scale, because that grade scale is everywhere. It's everywhere. So they know the grade scale. But I need to give them feedback so they always move forward. So that's my role.
But it's an interesting thing because with my own children now, maybe sometimes it's easier with the testing and the grading and do that because you really need to care, you really need to get deep into the feedback. And I have questionable experiences with how good the feedback really is.
Yeah. So that's another part. You could in the feedback say to the students, great, and you're done. But if you say, great, but until the next time or the next lesson or the next time we're doing this kind of assignment, you need to focus more on the So the feedback is directly on something that the students need to develop or be better at or train more.
And maybe if I'm really brutal, sometimes I feel like the teachers is hiding behind the tests and then let them do the job instead of really doing the real job of learning.
Exactly. Because look at us as an adults. If we had tests every 4th week in our jobs, we wouldn't get erased in 28 years now. I'm pretty sure of that.
Speak for yourself.
I'm sure of it.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure of it.
Yes.
It becomes funny almost when we put it in the grown-ups context.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yes.
I mean, it's almost like, leadership in some way. I mean, you don't tell people what to do. You don't, criticize people in a destructive way. You instead do motivate them and inspire them.
Yeah.
And then show the direction.
Yeah.
As you said.
I hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when you translate that. When you translate that to the school world.
Yeah.
But how do you handle a more unmotivated or a person that is, more challenged in reading or understanding math or whatever, and they feel like stupid and they can't really feel the motivation to dig deeper into it? What do you do?
In fact, I don't really know what I'm doing. That's for sure. I don't really know about it. But I think you need to get to know the student or the person, not refer it as the student. You need to know the person. What triggers them, what do they like, what do they don't like. So you need to know the person. In this case, it's a student, but it's a small grown-up. They are soon to be off in the world. So we need to talk to them. We need to get to know them. We need to show some feeling and some.
I have to go back to my years as a teacher as well, and I remember some students. That was really challenging.
Yeah.
For one, they were unmotivated, and you have to spend time on that. But the second was that what you're trying to teach to a whole class is one thing, but I know that person, that person would never even understand what we were speaking about because it was other things that was thinking about. And I wish, you could have a one-on-one kind of class with that person to really speak more about this thing, and that other person needed to know that thing. But isn't that the perfect example using ChatGPT? For they can have a one-on-one and ask exactly the question they don't understand, so they can choose.
Yes.
I need to understand this. I don't understand what the division is or what the square.
Can you please show me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So of
so
course
it's a more interactive and personalized experience with this, like having a study buddy, as we call it, or a one-on-one teacher in some way.
And look at the other side, buying textbooks. It's not going to be motivating, right?
Going back to your original frustration with the 350 million for physical books instead of having these kind of awesome interactive personalized study buddies that we could all have.
But this triggered me for a topic that we might park, because where we stand right now is still on the very early days, and we have like a very raw UX in ChatGPT, that works for anything. And the topic that I was thinking about, like, do we think this will be more packaged to really work in, for instance, the teacher scenario, so it becomes more like guided in terms of how do you do all these things, or is it actually the raw format that is the most ideal way to work with tools like this?
No, I don't think so, because in schools, just put it in some context of a school situation or school world, is that we have we have different platforms that are supposed to do different things. Like are everyone here today? We're going to put some grades somewhere, and so on and so on. So I think we need to, or not we, but the book publishers, they are handing out the textbooks to the students, or the PDF on a can kind of thing. So I think the companies out there need to, in some way, involve AI in the whole system. So we can log in one place, and there we have it. Because I think that reading a book today is not many students are doing that today, I'm sorry to say. And I think we need to... That's another topic, but okay, let's leave that. But I think AI can help students to read the book, because they can ask questions, they can be the guiding points in this whole chapter, or the whole book for that case. So
it's the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, the whole ecosystem. So I think that the publishers that are not having AI in their books or in their kind of library, they are not going to be here in 5 years.
Perhaps we could phrase this as topic of the future of physical books.
Yeah.
And for one, let's start with, do you think we will have, or let's say a different way, we will have physical books for sure. I mean, the Bible will stay around for another 1,000 years. But will the mainstream people in 50 years still read physical books? What do you think?
No.
I beg to differ, but we will read them for pure pleasure of like you have a nice mechanical watch, or you have a nice mechanical. You want a tactile feel.
It's like riding a horse. I mean, it's fun to ride a horse.
We ride a horse for pleasure. We don't ride a horse to get to work.
Okay.
In this sense, I think books. My argument, yes, we will have books, but it will be like a connoisseur's experience.
I think I'm more on Anders' side. I think the mainstream, which was the question.
Okay, the mainstream. Okay. And I think the storytelling book bit, they're gonna get even more customers.
Yeah. True.
What do you mean? The storytelling?
No, the storytelling book beat. They're gonna get even more customers, because now you can listen to a book when you're traveling on the subway or the bus or.
And you can have an interactive experience with
Yes.
it. Isn't that a big thing?
Yes.
So books will turn from physical to digital interactive books? Or
yes, in some way.
Yes.
Maybe you can choose the end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or the beginning.
Or choose what part to actually go deeper into.
Yeah.
So you start with a summarization of the book almost, and say, I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
And then you...
And I want that person to be the main character in the book.
Why not?
Yeah, that should be cool.
So if we start here, the reading and the book will be reimagined.
Yeah.
That is the first hypothesis here, right?
Yeah.
And where do you go from here into school, or the context of schools? Or education?
School libraries. Is it necessary to have a school library, or should we have the school library in some kind of different way? In
a language model, perhaps?
Yes, language model, maybe in a cloud.
I guess all libraries are already in the language models that we have today, in some way. But I feel a bit sad still about this. I guess it's like, you still have a painting on the wall. It's not, you could in theory have a painting that is changing every day, is personalized to your feelings and whatever. But it's something special about having the human-drawn painting in some way.
It is, but if you look at the generation that I teach right now, they are born like 08, 09, something like that. And I don't think they have met many books, at least not so many books that I've met when I was young. We have a whole bookshelf at home with, Nationalencyklopedin in the bottom and so. And I don't think they have it. I don't think, if you're born 1995, you haven't had a single day without a cellular phone.
But what about reading then? Do you think reading still will be important, or will you simply have... Okay.
I think so, because I think reading is the main key to understanding things.
What about listening and speaking then instead?
Yeah. If you could Yeah, if you could do all three of them.
Do you need to read letters? I mean, wouldn't it more efficient to simply speak and listen to
Yes.
an AI, like the latest ChatGPT? Not? We will come to that.
Yeah.
But, right? I mean, if you don't have to write or read,
What should we do then?
I mean, is it necessary to write and read? Is there an added value to write and read? Basically, I guess it's my question in some way.
I think so, because I think the education system won't be changed like this. Because we have, like Stockholms Universitet and Göteborg and Chalmers and so on, in Sweden anyway. And I think they are not there yet to, okay, AI is out there, but we are still doing the same thing as we did in 1980s when I went to the university. It's going to take a long time to turn this ship around, I think.
But all the knowledge that they have and that are in writing is now in language models. So you can simply interrogate the language model instead.
Yes.
But open question. If you have something that you need to read or listen to or whatever, which one is the fastest way for you to consume 1,000 words?
And I think that's different from one person to another.
That's true.
Yeah.
But for many people, like you put, even to the point when you listen to your podcast, you put it on 1.2 speed or 2.3 speed. And I have friends who are real speed readers, like the proper speed readers, who basically can put the finger in the middle of the text and have trained their eyes so they go like this.
Yeah.
And you cannot listen that fast.
No, you can't.
So I think there are mechanics here where reading is actually very efficient, and I think
it can become more interactive as well.
Yeah.
So it's not static, like written like last year.
No. So, but we were talking about the modalities.
Yeah,
the way I understood the question was the modalities.
Sure. But I think, if you're reading a text and there are 3 words on a page that you don't understand or you don't understand the concept of it, then you have to put your book away and open your laptop and But if you are maybe in your headphones, you can just say stop. Yeah. Could you look up this word for me? Could you put it in another context? Boom.
But this is the efficiency, right?
Yeah.
But okay. Won't we mix the modalities? Isn't that the future?
But I think multimodality is just great.
But will we truly have so clear different modalities, or will it converge in communication? I don't know,
but I can look at my class. We have 54 students in grade 8. And when they are note-taking, some of them are just doing it on an iPad, with the Apple Pencil, blah, 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 blah. And some of them are doing it on the paper. I want to have it in my notebook because that's the way I learn.
It's a learning trick for them.
Yeah, and that's just great. We have different kind of ways of putting down notes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with reading.
And maybe then this will change, but the core modalities fitting for different learning styles will always is a personal thing.
Yeah, and learning styles is kind of a forbidden word in the school world right now, because some of them are just saying that there are no such thing as different learning styles.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm referring it to different learning methods. You like to put down your notes on a paper, and I like to do it on my iPad. But yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's me who is ignorant with the right vocabulary here. There's a semantic difference between learning methods and learning styles.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teach me a little bit here. What's the learning style versus the learning method? Why?
But learning styles could be, this student always need to walk outside when he or she is learning something, or he needs to sit under a table because he or she learned something.
Steve Jobs did the best of his work when he was out walking.
Yes. And in a garage then when he came back.
This is learning.
Yeah.
Okay, this is learning style.
Yeah, and learning methods, it's a method where you enhance your learning and the way that you are learning it best for or on.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you could just, some of the students are recording my, when I have a start of the lesson and I tell them, today we're going to do like this and that, and they just record it and they can listen to it again. So I think that's nice.
But if we go broader on learning styles, because you have a classroom setting, and then you can
Yeah.
have techniques and methods
Yeah.
that is most efficient but if I go broader as a grown-up, my preferred learning style or method of learning is actually podcast right now, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I actually don't think I am at my best in a classroom setting at all.
No,
I'm in my
me
best.
neither.
I'm at my best in a learning style where the learning is hidden or by curiosity
Yeah.
and in a context which it doesn't say learning on the top, but the fucking word stuck.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things in school. I think we need to. I think teachers are often say we need to do this because it's in the curriculum, and that's a really bad start of a whole lesson. You know,
It's not first principle, as we
No.
spoke about, right?
It's not first principle on learning.
no, that's kind of a boring way to start a lesson.
And it's a superficial argument, motivation.
Yes, it's not motivational at all. I
No,
should say.
actually, it's not.
We need to find the inner motivation and not the outer motivation.
Now
Talking about grades.
But now we open up another key, completely different. Sorry, we could park it. I have an hypothesis with my kids that, and I think it's, I think we're getting into a world where you need to have mastery in whatever you are pursuing, because the complexity and everything you could do, and to have true mastery, passion comes first. You need to be nerdy about something in order to become good enough about it. So learning has so much deeper connotation of identifying motivations in order to have the stamina to go for mastery. So this is another core topic where I think that really puts a spin on what is our job as teachers and education.
And I think we could compare to someone in my class. I'm not going to mention any name because it's GDPR, you know. but he loves to play hockey. He just loves to play hockey. And what if every student that loves to play hockey or soccer or handball or whatever, likes to travel to the horses and so on, if we could just take that, what should we say, inspiration or the will passion,
inner
yes.
deeper motivation.
Yeah, and put it in school.
Yeah.
How should that look? And how could we benefit from that passion? That would be just great if someone going to win the Nobel Prize if they're...
Because you can then also, this is becoming very personal.
I'm just going to say, the guy that plays hockey, he's very passionate in school as well.
Yeah.
Just going to say that, okay?
Yeah. But I with my 15-year-old, my kids are so different, my 17 and 15. But with my 15-year-old, it's a little bit like he doesn't really know what he wants to do, and I can see how that reflects on his self-confidence, self-image, and ultimately his identity. And then from his identity, his ability to learn or pick something up. And I have a very great example how he was like fiddling around when he was young with the innebandy floorball.
Yeah.
He wasn't very good. He wasn't really motivated, but he wasn't identifying himself as an innebandy player.
Right.
And then all of a sudden something clicked, and he got this. This is quite fun, and I want to be a goalie. And this sort of, so he explored something. He found something. It was fun. And then all of a sudden it changes his identity to I'm an innebandy player.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden his motivation to train and to learn is 10x.
I'm a learner, it should be in school.
And so maybe school then has in the future a huge obligation to help the kids try things, find their passions in order to find their identity, in order to have the consequent chain, in order to have the real learning ability to go for mastery. So it puts a little bit a different, why are you here, or what is our job?
Yes.
Do you think...
Why school?
Why school?
Why school? That's a good question, right?
Yes.
Why school? Why do you go to school? Why do I work in school?
So this was... do you follow that... do you think it's a... Because I think that moving into the future, and we can do anything, or you can do nothing.
And that's why I think that's one part of when I'm just quitting the test thing, you know, because I want to make them feel that learning is a journey.
Yeah.
You don't start to learn when you get out of the school door. The learning continues wherever you are. But how do you learn? And what do you do with that knowledge that you have learned?
And why do you want to learn, and what motivates you to
Yes.
learn, to really have the discipline,
Yeah.
self-discipline to really master something
And change the world.
and change the world?
Lifelong learning and
Yes.
change the world. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
But it's deep questions that really changes why
Yeah.
we're there,
Yes.
or what we're there to do.
Yeah. Why school?
Awesome. I have a number of big topics here. I'd like to get to the job market soon.
Yeah.
What? Oh, you want to?
But before starting with
We have a commercial break.
some-
Right?
we'll be back,
Let's go to
back after the
commercials.
commercials.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
there's no commercials.
He's
No.
like, no advertisement, no advertisement. And I was actually, I was listening to, I went to Spotify and said like, hey, I haven't heard Joe Rogan for a long time. Let me hear. And then commercials in the middle of the
Yeah.
podcast,
Ignore
twice.
it. Yeah.
And then it's like, man,
to pay
he
for the
sold out
Spotify.
completely. It's like,
He wants to make money. That's why.
but in any way, so we are starting from today. We are starting with a new segment which we will try and see how it's going to go, which is called AI News with AIAW Podcast, where all the hosts, including myself, is bringing one individual news that has happened this week that we can discuss here jointly. So I have a jingle and everything prepared, but it's not for today. So I will use it for next time because I don't know which one of the buttons I assigned it to. So
Just try one.
So you can like
do it for fun.
yes, you have this different ones. So I don't know which one.
Not that one. Not that one.
Not that one. So we will take the jingle next time. So basically, in the next 7 to maximum 10 minutes, we have 4 topics, and we just discuss very bluntly about what do we think personally about this topic. So maybe Anders, you want to start, or
Let the
Yeah.
guest start.
no, the guest should not
Okay.
start, man.
Anders,
you put
I
the
mean,
guest
two
first
Anders.
there. What is that?
With 2 Anders here.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. You put the first one.
Okay, this Anders starts, right? Or did you mean me?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Why?
Anders Arctic, yes, this you.
Yeah.
Don't put the guest on the spot. What's his argument? And I was like, let the guest go first.
Okay, we already, everyone's going to speak about the new latest ChatGPT launches, but so I had to pick something else. So I'm not going to speak about ChatGPT because I know you or some of you will.
Why are you breaking down like what is gonna happen?
Just go for your topic. Shut
Just
up.
making a disclaimer about, why
And
I'm
this is disclaimer why you didn't pick the best
Yes.
topic.
So he just wanted to
I
make
want
sure
to
that I
speak
came up
about-
first with that idea, and now they took it away from me.
It's
Alright.
been on AItools.com now
Yes.
to look up for the best AI tool.
All right, so
Well,
I will be
okay.
the last because I have the most boring one.
Oh,
All right, so it
okay.
starts now.
Okay, so I'm not going to speak about the obvious ones. I'm going to speak about Meta in them instead. And they did a big launch or announcement recently, in just last couple of days, or yesterday even, I think. And they go in the same route as Google and Microsoft are doing. And not very surprising, but they are taking the same route in putting AI into products engineering-wise in a speed that is astonishing. So you know that Microsoft has gone the Copilot way, putting Copilots in the operating system, in the web browser, in all the Office suite products and whatnot. Google did the same. They have the Duet AI, they have the Bard that is now integrated with Gmail, and they have the whole workspaces integration, AI in every product they have. And now Meta just announced they're doing the same. So of course they're going to have a chatbot, a Copilot. I'm not sure, I think they call it a chatbot in this case. Surprisingly non-creative name for
Yes,
it.
yeah, for Meta as well. Yeah.
Yes. So a chatbot in, of course, Messenger, in Instagram, in Facebook, in WhatsApp, in all of these apps, there is going to be a chatbot, I guess they call it, a large language model that's going to be able to interact with the user. So then you can create new images for it. You can say, I have like a sticker thing for this, and instead of having smileys, you can simply have a personalized sticker that you send to someone in Instagram or whatnot, or in Messenger. Or you can have text and whatnot. So everything is getting, some kind of AI integration that helps you in the communication with other humans, and using AI as a
Pilot.
Buddy.
buddy.
Study, buddy.
Shut buddy.
But I think another
They
thing
call it assistant.
Assist, really? Okay.
It's an assistant, new assistant that can interact with
It's,
like a
it's
person
just
available
one
for
newspaper.
WhatsApp.
It's from Facebook. Okay, then it's a proper term. Okay. But what they also did, besides just integrating, as all the other top giant companies are doing, is that they are creating separate chatbots. So they have separate chatbots that I think they gave names to as well. So they have a name for a person or a chatbot that is specializing in sports. So then they can go to the sports assistant, and then they can speak about sports there. And then they have another assistant that is personalizing in cooking or whatnot. I'm just making up. I don't recall exactly what the different ones were.
But there are different kind of topics that you could ask that chatbot.
Yes. So they have a number of pre-trained chatbots that are interested in different topics, and you can choose to interact with them.
Are they experts or are they interested in?
I don't know. I think they're experts. I think they're experts.
Yeah.
And what they also say, you mentioned interest in AR as well, and apparently, if I understood it correctly, I may be wrong here, but it will allow people to create their own AI chatbot based on your personality. So if you want to have a chatbot that anyone else in the metaverse can interact with, you can train it yourself. And you can train it I think they call it like an AI studio or something. I didn't recall.
So you have an avatar now.
Yeah, but you have a person in metaverse in real VR, I guess in this case.
Yes.
So then you can train it on your own interest, and you can let other people interact with you. So you create like a digital twin of yourself, and you have an AI studio without any programming skills that you can still train a chatbot with or in. And I think this is actually surprisingly interesting.
It is.
You have a number of chatbots, they have different interests, but you can create your own. This is going to be the Anders chatbot that loves dansband music. Schlager, karaoke, and dansband.
I want an avatar that hates Apple and loves dansband.
I think this will really open up a lot of interesting use cases. And I think for education it will be interesting as well.
Yeah.
And that will enable people to build up their own kind of, if you call it avatar or metaverse personalities or chatbots.
So let's discuss. Is this gimmicky or useful?
I was thinking about if I could get my own avatar and I could make my own classroom in the metaverse, and the students could visit that from any place in the world.
So fun,
right?
So it's gimmicky, but it's something that entices you to interact and to spend time.
Yeah, I know in metaverses you can do kind of collaborations in chemistry when you mix different kind of subjects with each other. So so that should be possible, and I think that's the way to go.
Why is it interesting, Anders, to you?
I think it really moves in the line that Meta and Facebook has been speaking about for so long, the metaverse.
Yeah.
And then bringing AI into that world, so combining AI with the metaverse in a very interesting way, where you can start to build up your own metaverse, and you can do it without having programming skills. Any person that has some creativity can build their own kind of world and an avatar. I think it's...
And invite other people into that metaverse or
But can we foresee where this ends up? Because I can imagine how this creates micro communities that use spirals hugely. Like TikTok goes viral. Here we have someone creates an AI avatar and it becomes a community. It's a school. Yeah. All of a sudden this school is like the new Sims.
Yes, it could be like the new Facebook group. You have a Facebook group for homemade pizza, but it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And this, of course, in some sense, in the end, we not know exactly how it's going to play out, but then it's going to go viral for something.
Boom.
Yeah, it's going the same trend as all the other tech giants are taking, of course, integrating language models and generative AI in all their products.
We see, so here
in a bit different kind of way.
How would Meta do it, or how would it fit into metaverse? Okay, interesting.
Right.
Cool.
Yes.
Shall we move on?
Cool.
Anders.
Is it my turn now?
I think so.
Okay. I'm going to go for the it's not a day without news about AI, right?
Yes.
So this what I'm going to talk about is not today, but in Sweden it was yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's the new thing in ChatGPT, or the OpenAI, where you can talk to ChatGPT and ChatGPT is answering back with a voice.
Yes.
And I was thinking about, oh my God, this is just excellent for schools. You know that
Schools?
yeah, because the student could they could have a tutor every day, every hour, every minute, every
it's a
second.
tutor even, yeah.
Yeah, even tutor. Yeah,
And it's
Now-
probably faster kind of communication, right?
yes, and you just say boom, and then you have it. So I think that's if you again if you learn to prompt it right, and I think not asking questions, but telling the voice in ChatGPT to ask you questions, and I think that's going to be just great.
And because we're coming scary close now to conversational
Yeah,
AI, and just by the simple fact that we are conversing, which is maybe the most fundamental way of communicating as a human,
Yeah.
we're getting more human-like.
yeah.
I think
And
we're
that-
getting more to HAL 9000 kind of.
Yeah, we're getting. Actually, we're getting to Jarvis. We're
Yeah.
getting to Iron Man Jarvis if you or HAL 9000. So we are getting very, very close to what was always been projected as something really crazy.
Yeah.
We're not far away now.
No, we are not. We are not. So think about this. Look, if every student got their own personal tutor, it would be, are we really supposed to go in the first school years for 9 years? Or could we make that 7?
Yeah.
Or could we make that 6 years?
Yeah, it's and because now it triggers me because we talked about how we use digital infrastructure as aid in the schools.
Yeah.
You know, which I'm really referring to the iPad or the Chrome, and then we put software on it.
Yeah.
And now we're on a completely different abstraction
Yeah.
level. We should have a study buddy.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't really care if it's in the phone or whatever format infrastructure it is, but every school will have a proper study buddy.
Yes. Yes.
And then you connect that with an avatar.
In metaverse.
In metaverse.
Boom.
Boom, it goes viral.
Yeah.
And how fun would that be as a school kid?
Yeah.
That, you know what, I have my friend, my study buddy, and I talk to this guy.
Yes. And you could design the study buddy as you would like it. I want it to be Sylvester Stallone, or I want it to be the Hulk.
Or I liked it to be Neymar because I like football.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, this is just, but this of going to voice makes this next level.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But just to add to that as well, I mean, ChatGPT did a lot of things just in recent days. So one is, the big thing is voice, I would say. That's really awesome. Another is image or vision. And they, promised that GPT-4 would have vision in the initial launch of GPT-4, but it didn't really work well.
No.
Now they have DALL-E 3,
Yeah.
the second image generator that is integrated into ChatGPT. And ChatGPT apparently is going to help with the prompting as well. So if you just write as you normally would without thinking about prompting techniques to ChatGPT, it will actually help how to prompt DALL-E 3 to generate the proper image that you are interested in.
Yeah. And
So
that one you are looking for.
Yeah.
But okay, so on the image thing, did you see this was a very nice, I saw it in social media. The example was how you can use images in your interaction and prompting in order to get advice or help. So the prompt is this. I don't know how to lower the seat on my bike. Here is a picture of my bike. How do I lower it? And the ChatGPT analyzes the picture and then describes the picture and say you need to go and it describes this is a black bike and you hit this part is the saddle. You need to go here, and then you need to flip the lever. Okay, then he zooms in another picture. Is this the lever you mean? Yes, but that's not the lever. That's a screw. Okay, how do I lower my bike then? Okay, then you need an Allen key size 4. Okay, And then he shows the next picture. Here is my toolbox. Do I have the right tools in order to lower the bike? Yes, in your toolbox, on the left in the picture, you have what is called Allen keys. Go for number 4 and use that to unscrew the bike, to unscrew the saddle by turning it anti-clockwise. Okay, I lowered my, So this is amazing to me how you then look at picture and you're interacting with the picture as the way to get advice. So I think this is part of this whole how to use pictures with ChatGPT.
It's another modality.
It's another modality.
So they have text, audio, and images now that they can both understand and generate in different ways.
But isn't that example mind-blowing?
Yes, it is.
Simple, and it's really pedagogical way. He was prompting and they could solve the task.
And now they have voice to text as well. Did we mention that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that was you mentioned again.
Yeah.
And also, I think the last thing that ChatGPT did was actually adding internet search to their
Yes,
chatbots.
that's the big one
so
as well.
now Bard, which I actually like a lot and use more than ChatGPT these days, which had Google search integrated since a long while back, now actually chatbot or the ChatGPT has caught up.
Yeah, with the Bing motor.
And is it a Bing motor then, of course?
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
But they started
So not
to,
really caught up.
For
but
once, I was trying to make the point that I think Bard was actually ahead at some features before, but now they're catching up again. It's a constant AI battle between Microsoft and Google that is very funny too.
All right.
Yep.
So
So now Amazon is coming to play because they invested $3 billion in Anthropic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This week, this was big as well.
was that your news? Did you cut in?
No,
and
it was not.
There wasn't.
No, I will have
honorary
my
mention.
That was
We
funny
have
news.
4 news and then an honorary mention here.
No, this was like what is called add-on to all of these giants fighting. My topic is so dry, you'll hate it.
Okay, go for Henrik's then.
We do my topic.
Yes.
So my topic is the announcement that Spotify made, how they now can do real-time translation to any language of a podcast, for instance. And the one that you could find in social media was even where Lex Friedman himself posted and was excited, is how you see a podcast with Lex Friedman, and with the flick of a click in Spotify, his voice flips to Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's decently dubbed, so it fits with the
mouth.
With the mouth.
Yeah, the movement.
So
of the mouth,
it's like it's by no means less quality than any dubbing of any Spanish or English movie into Spanish. So everybody who's been watching Hollywood movies dubbed into Spanish or whatever, it's that level of quality.
So it's both machine translation, as you said, but also the technical term is voice cloning.
Voice cloning, yeah. So it's two real big
Who
techniques.
announced this week? Spotify?
Yeah.
Well, this was announced like 5-6 months ago. There was even, I reposted this on LinkedIn. It's not about Spotify. No, Spotify probably announced it now, but the technology came 4 or 5
months ago.
But voice cloning has been around for a long time. But, it's
so probably they bought some kind of a company.
No, but I
this
think
internally.
the big sort of presentation that came out with Daniel was sort of pitching this, and also Lex Friedman was commenting on it, is that they put it in production. They put it in commercial production. It technology-wise, the invention was 4 months ago, but here we now.
I mean, it's been around for a long time.
But to put that into normal Spotify for anyone to use.
Think of what this could do for schools or for students. If you hold a lecture about, we go back to the atom. Okay, you hold a lecture about the atom in Swedish. Then you can voice clone yourself into different language. And so every student in the whole world can see your movie about the atom in their own language.
Yeah.
If we could gather that in one place, on one platform,
Boom.
That would be amazing.
It's called Spotify.
Yeah, maybe. Spotify could reach out to us, so we got to fix that for them. Yeah.
I mean, 11 Labs is another big player in this market, and they can do voice cloning really well. I had some friends who did that, and he had a morning alarm, and he's very tired in the morning. He doesn't want to go to work, so he then created a morning alarm by using 11 Labs, and then he had it in the voice of Carl Bildt to start with. And he says, why should you go to work? It's horrible. Stay in bed. And then Göran Persson comes up and continues the discussion, saying, you need to go to work now. And blah, 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 blah. And it sounds perfect. I mean, it's really in the voice of Carl Bildt and Göran Persson each other. And he used also then text to speech to, write the text that you want to say. So he has his own name. Now, Martin, you need to do this. And it, it's perfect,
That's just
text
crazy,
to speech.
right?
And then in the voice of Carl Bildt.
And which technology do you use? 11, what's it called?
It's 11 Labs, it's a commercial one, but there is a lot of open source technology to do this as well. Both the text to speech.
Yeah.
And Meta has some awesome technology that just came out that is awesome for this, seamless M4T. But also the voice cloning. And you can do voice cloning now with just a few seconds of samples. So if I just have 4 seconds of your voice, Henrik, I can make you...
So the whole fake thing, you read very little data actually to do it now.
Yes. It's very easy to do fake news, fake text, fake voice, fake images.
Yeah, but actually...
Fake.
Last comment on my comment. We've sometimes had the conversation of what is the invention, what is innovation, what is adoption. So Schumpeter, already in the 40s, talked about these distinctions, and this is quite interesting. The whole conversation. What is truly the invention? So here we have technically voice cloning. The invention came up and was published and is out there since 4 or 5 months back, at least longer, right? The innovation is to put that in some sort of technology that has use. The diffusion or adoption is mainstream adoption. So I think now the update of Spotify is an example of a diffusion.
Going from a prototype to a product, which they are doing now, even if it's a small, first pilot with only a few podcasts that they collaborate with, is still a huge step. And the engineering efforts necessary to go from the invention to a proper
adoption, a diffusion of pilot, widespread diffusion. That's the news. That is the news that we had.
Are the podcasts making more money when their podcast is in different languages? Do they get more advertising time, or?
I guess they have maybe a larger audience.
I mean,
bottom line, that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Because I'm thinking right now for event business, right? So now, imagine that there are around and there is no general research about events and how many events are done, but in over some statistics is around 11.1 million, 11.2 million events per year done. All of those events is basically knowledge transferred in that moment of time that disappears and the moment when basically the event ends, and that is 5 o'clock. And because nobody is recording that, because there is no commercial value, why you should record it and stream it and give it to the world, nobody does it. But if you can, imagine if you can record it, and suddenly somebody in, Kuala Lumpur or somebody in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro is having conference on big data, and now you just basically in a flip of the moment, you can switch to English and you can hear how Petrobras or Mitsubishi's are working with data and AI. Imagine how much we can speed up the process of peer-to-peer learning and all of these things. So,
you know what the negative aspect of this is?
Yes.
I feel so sad for all the manual translators in the EU Parliament that are sitting manually translating every piece of text and voice to other languages. I'm kidding a bit here, but yes.
To be honest, I know quite a lot of those. I think that it's good for them to change the job.
Yes, I think so too.
I mean, they have too much fun and too much money for doing something like that.
Yes.
Sorry, buddies, man. I love you. Doesn't matter.
Last update.
Let's update. So this is the most boring one. So I'm following the development of the AI Act.
Oh.
And it's been a drama this week, a little bit. Because the European digital rights have found a loophole in the whole draft, where the legislators, they are giving the option to the AI system developers to rank if the system is of high risk or not. Which means that Meta or Facebook or Ericsson or whoever you want that is basically developing the AI system, they can rank it reading the AI Act if this is high or low or medium. So the discussion is that basically there should be a governing body that is deciding which model which is the level of the risk of the model that is put in production, which complicates the entire thing, because you will need to take the model and send it to a sandbox, to a governmental body, and then basically they will evaluate it, and if they evaluate it, you don't put it into production, right? So this is the new thing. So I'm going to end up with a question. Who actually should be in control of deciding if your model that you have developed in your organization, maybe that is the public sector in Sweden for education of kids, or the other governments, or government bodies or enterprises should be responsible for that, or should be a governing body?
The AI, of course, right?
No.
but
we just ask ChatGPT and then that's it.
Yeah, that should be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the sandbox that you put the entire code in ChatGPT and said like, hey, is this good or not?
Is this okay?
So like, thumbs up with a new sticker of cauliflower or whatever.
But this is rhetoric. I did not follow this completely, but did you guys see that there was some proposal of a body within the UN for AI?
Yeah, I posted about that last week as well.
Yes, so maybe that's a quite interesting news, and maybe that's where such a body should be built.
Well, I think that how it's placed right now, that every country in Europe will have a governing body that will be responsible for the country developed AI models. But then you have European that will govern basically what is coming from outside and how this is going to be.
And my argument is that whole idea is flawed. If you learn from
which one? So the question is, should enterprise decide, or the governance or the government should decide if how risky
if it's good or if it's bad?
Yeah, basically the level of risk of the model. So is it low risk, high risk, medium risk? Because that is how the whole thing is built.
Now, I'm questioning, can you even do regulatory on AI in this sense that is not global? So that's a much deeper question.
This is going to come in 3 months from now.
I know.
So there is no question about it. They're going to shove it like a
ChatGPT,
like a
it's a rhetorical question.
You will just sit there.
I know, and this was a rhetorical question. And so we need to live with that. And you are asking the appropriate operational question right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but we need, of course, some kind of oversight committee for this. It's going to be a super hard thing to do, and it's going to be probably poorly implemented in the beginning.
Yeah,
I'm still an optimist and hoping that at some point in time it actually will be of use.
But is it European, or is it should be local, right?
This is the European AI Act.
But is the core question you're asking if this should happen on European level or local level? Is that the first question?
No, the question is, should the organization that is developing the AI system be responsible for self-ranking it, if this is high, medium, and low risk, or should Europe or the governmental body regulating the AI
That's
be
the first
responsible
question.
for that? No, that is the ultimate question.
Yes. I think we should
stop there.
Exactly. In any case, that was the news.
You can just go to bar.google.com and ask that question. Yeah. They have a proper answer.
Yeah, true. Yes. Yeah. But I noticed when you were speaking, which was very interesting. So you asked the questions like why they will use it. I think that the future is in a hyper personalization, and everything that actually right now is happening with generative AI, it's actually towards that, because all of the stickers and things like that is actually you creating education, how you want it to be taught, how you want it to listen music on the language that you want it. You want to have an avatar as you want it. You can have a picture as you want it. You can read a story for your kid as you want it. You can create the story. Yeah. You can create the music. So it's basically we're moving to this hyper personalization, and that is the fight that these guys are actually doing. And Amazon, of course, is behind, so that's why they put 3 billion in Anthropic, because they don't have any LLMs. So.
they failed themselves, so they simply paid for it as well.
Right. All right, so that is the segment.
Yep.
Here comes the jingle next week. And now we continue.
It took a long time, 20 minutes just for or half an hour.
We need to practice to make this more efficient if we're going to do 10 minutes.
It was a bit too long, but it was interesting.
Maybe only 1 or 2 questions. Maybe 4 is too much.
Should we just move to a very simple question?
Oh.
What is the job market going to look in the future?
Oh my God. That's not a simple question. That's a hard question.
But when he sets it up like that, it's going to be the hardest question of the pod.
The job market is that it will look like we don't know today what the job market will look like in 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years.
So how do we know what we should educate for if we don't know the job market in 20 years?
Yeah, but for sure we can say that AI and AR and VR and XR and avatars and so on will be a big part of every person's life in some kind of way. And I think the job market will as well have AI, AR, XR and avatars in it. So yeah.
Yes. So we can probably assume, as you've been speaking a lot recently about AI is going to be a buddy both for the student and the teacher.
Yeah.
I guess also as a co-worker in the future.
Yes.
In different ways. And I think we can be rather sure that is more or less almost starting to happen. And in 5 years, it will be normalized everywhere. That you have an AI to help you throughout the day.
But maybe that's the way to answer the question. You cannot define. No one can know exactly how the job market will look like.
No.
But I think we can extrapolate some key driving forces that we can be quite
Sure about.
Yeah. So let's start with that one. Where the AI is going, everybody in every work or in every job or anything, like there will be a buddy system. There will be augmentation going on in every job. How it looks like, exactly what formats, don't know. But you will not be doing your job alone ever again. And I put 5 years on that scale.
I mean, we are not really. I mean, as Elon Musk, we haven't even mentioned Elon Musk once, I think, yet. We have to do it once at least.
I did a jingle for Elon Musk as well, because I knew that this is going to happen.
But as he already said, we have, the first layer in our humans, which is the liberatory system, the limbic system, right? I forgot the name. Sorry for that.
No, that's okay.
They have the name of basically the reactive part of your human brain that is basically reacting very quickly in how you move, how you do the normal thinking and whatnot. Limbic system. Thank you.
Limbic. Yeah.
And then you have a more like type 2 kind of system in the human brain that do the deliberative type of thinking, which is the prefrontal cortex that is doing the more reasoning part. Now, he even says that we have a tertiary layer, which is basically the digital extension of ourselves, the mobile phones, the computer laptops.
And you can argue we're already there.
We already are there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point. So we already have a third, we basically already cyborgs in some way.
Yeah.
It would be really hard for us to live without the internet, without the mobile phone, without the computer and iPads in our hands. And I guess that's safe to say that will simply continue.
So going back to the job market question, and we are trying to suck out principles or driving forces. So one driving force is your tertiary brain or your study buddy. Yeah. That concept, however that manifests itself, that will be a driving force in whatever the job market is. Which means that we need to adopt to living and understanding our job market. And it's like understanding, I'm going to be proficient in this new job. What part of this new job should I already from the beginning trying to project on my third brain, my second brain, and my limbic brain? Do you see what I mean with that? So you can actually think about carefully today. I have no job and no experience in marketing, and I want to work in an advertising agency. Okay, with the knowledge of AI today, how would I approach that job today? What is the skill I need to learn, and what tools would I need to learn? I think that is a very simple principle of how to think about jobs and job market.
I think so, but if you put yourself in a teacher's shoes, you're supposed to teach something to 14, 15-year-old students. And we don't know anything about the future in 5 or 10 years. But we are supposed to teach them future skills. But what are the future skills?
Yeah. But this is a good one. This is a good
in
one.
5 or 10 years.
But that's another
exactly.
principle.
I mean, the point
we
is
talked about this before.
Yeah, we do not know what the job market will look like in 10 years. But we still need to prepare for it in some way.
Yes.
We need to do the best we can to make sure the educational system we have today is making the students prepared for the future job market.
Yes.
And I think, you know, what you're doing, saying it's rather idiotic if you think about it in this way, to say don't use AI. I mean, right? It's obvious then.
Exactly.
No, but you can take this. You can take this to a much more stronger fundamental principle. What the education system needs to be really, really good at. If we are putting now this in the context of innovation pressure, and we don't know what this is, but we simply know that the progress will accelerate.
Yeah.
Then the acquisition rate of new skills and knowledge, that mechanism, how good you are in learning, how good you are in mastery, you know, the skill of learning, so to speak, that becomes maybe a super important
skill in the field. Yeah, I think
learning acquisition, or would you have this intelligence definition I was trying to allure to? Do you see what? So I think this skill in itself becomes a key skill.
I think that World Economic Forum is making future skills every 5th year, and that skill has been around for the last 15 years. I think
our ability to learn and pick up new skills as a meta skill.
Yes,
that is super.
So important. I think that's the most important thing. We're talking about this, the lifelong journey about learning and lifelong learning and so on. So I think that if we could, if I and every other teacher in the world could teach and learn our students how to be a better learner, and I think much is won just by that.
This is maybe as simple as that. I would argue exactly like this.
I hope so. I don't know. I hope so.
I mean, I'm really excited that you are embracing the latest tech into education, because you know that any student that is not prepared to make use of these technologies will be left behind, I think, in the future.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I think, you know, we shouldn't, you know, go for too long podcast. I think we should start to move a bit more into even more philosophical questions.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
Practical.
What?
Practical. More practical topics.
No, philosophical topics.
No.
We're ignoring the producer here. And, oh, Jesus.
Goran became so mad that he ripped the microphone.
Remember what we said?
Anders.
Yes.
If we assume that will be a future in 5, 10 or 50 years where we will have super intelligent machines that are not only more intelligent or knowledgeable than any human, but also all humans combined, does that make you scared or excited?
Excited.
Why?
Because I think that the big benefit of AI and AR and all other kind of digitalized innovations is that learning becomes more democratized than previous generations. Because when I went to school, I had a best friend, and he had a bigger sister. And when he got an assignment from school, he just handed out to that bigger sister.
Jesus.
And the bigger sister wrote the assignment and handed it in, and he handed it in to the teachers. And he got good grades. And I didn't have any bigger sister, so I didn't get so good grades. But with AI and AR, everyone has a bigger sister.
Right.
And everyone has the chance to be whatever they like to be at any point in life. And that's democratizing the whole learning journey.
It makes you, it enables any person, no matter what their potential are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, to make the best of themselves in some way.
And where you're raised doesn't have any importance.
And just to elaborate a bit more, if we think about, you know, you can think about the, as Elon Musk says, thinking in the limits. So you can think in the extreme use cases. The extreme use case in this could be either dystopian, thinking Terminator style, AI, when it gets control, we move into singularity, they will, you know, potentially think humans are bad and kill us all for whatever reason that I don't understand. I'm trying to be as objective here, but it's not going well. That's one dystopian kind of extreme. The utopian kind of extreme is that we go into this world of abundance, a world where We have energy more than we need. We don't have any need for money, really. We don't need to work. I think, in 40 years or even 30 years, our kids will look back at the time and say, do you know our parents? They had to work 40 hours a week.
And they went to school 5 days a week when they were young. Yeah.
And then potentially, if you think that could be the utopian kind of future where we don't, are slaves to the society that we have today, it could be a rather, paradise kind of society.
Yeah.
Which, in these two extremes, where do you believe we will end up? In the paradise or hell?
I hope not hell, right? But I hope paradise, and I want to believe that it's paradise. Yeah. And I have a belief in the human and the humankind, that we could be both human and kind.
Yeah. So can machines, perhaps.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. And if we are developing the machines, it should be both human and kind.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so given that we're living in this paradise, then just assuming that, which would be a nice place to be.
Yeah.
How will education work at that time? What if you don't need to study to get a job potentially? Why should you study?
That's a good question, and I don't think school's going to be around them. And I think we are talking about the metaverse today. Yeah. So that's one way to walk with if you want to learn something, and maybe you can choose for yourself. I want to learn this. I want to be a great pizza baker. I don't know, something. I just want to be a great marketing engineer. I don't know. You can choose your own topic.
But I think you can paint towards this utopian picture how important it will be to find your inner passion.
Yes.
And from this inner passion and motivations, carve out your identity and then carve out what you are doing with your life.
Yeah.
And whether we're going to call it work or not, people, humans, we will do stuff.
Yeah.
And we will work, or we will train, or we will do that, even if it's for pleasure, because it's in
pleasure and passion.
Pleasure and passion.
That would be great, right?
Yeah, but I think in this context, of course, we need schools, or we need educational learning because we're going to be passionate about our.
But I don't think it's going to be kind of four walls and you walk into a door, and I think into a classroom.
No, that needs to be completely reimagined because in the end. I listened to Mikael Dahlén yesterday at the conference, and we talked about the meat factory. The meat robots are over. It's actually economically more sound with real robots. So we're not going to need factories that churns out meat robots. So the meat robots need to actually figure out what the fuck they want to do and have fun and then pursue their dreams and be humans, which of course then entails learning, mastery, values, all this stuff. Having fun. And even, I love surfing. But I need to damn train in order to be fit enough to surf or in order to stand up on so I will work on my surfing.
Yeah.
Or whatever, So isn't that a quite good tie in the utopian view? We'll have learning.
Yes.
But we will frame it in a different way it's not a meat factory anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure I will, work just as hard as I do today, but it will be for things that I'm passionate for.
Yeah,
and I will learn constantly.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think that will change.
Yeah.
No,
I think so too.
But the mechanics now, because the underlying motivation of society and our gross domestic product to increase by 1 or 2%, that whole game is over. And so we will not need schools in order to produce the meat robots in this sense.
No, there's no industry no more.
Not
the
in that
industry
sense.
not in that. Because now we educate, I have 54 students in my class. We have a big class and 2 teacher system and so on. It's a machinery. Yeah, it's a machinery. They walk in, they learn something and they walk out. So I think, and I hope, we can leave that part of education really soon.
No, but we need to leave it sooner than we think, because even before we in utopia, we have already said we need lifelong learning.
Yes.
So then the whole context of walking into something that churns you out after 9 years and then you're done with it, that story is already obsolete.
Yeah.
It is obsolete. That's unfortunate, but it's true, right?
Yes. I hope so anyway.
Yes.
No, it is obsolete, because if we need to redo ourselves and relearn in order to be relevant, okay.
Doesn't everyone need to
But
relearn?
you never walk out the door. That's what I mean. Like,
Okay.
How can you have a faculty of learning? You should never walk out the door. So how do we have a input factory production line, and then we walk out. But we shouldn't walk out. So how does the factory look like that you never leave? Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Constant learning.
Constant learning, right? So that's another factory.
Yes.
Constant living, perhaps.
Constant living is even better.
Anders Enström, it's been a true pleasure to have you here. So many awesome discussions, and I wish more teachers and people that or policymakers for schools listen to this and learn from you, and help our school system to become the future of our school systems.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So I hope you can stay on for some after work to continue with the proper and even more fun discussions.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.